Welcome to Retraction. I'm your co-host, Antoine.
I'm your co-host, Jamie, and we are reversing course through discourse on the pod. A friendly reminder that at Retraction Media on YouTube has new uploads every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. While you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment on our videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay up to date on our latest content. Follow us on Twitter, also at Retraction Media, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more to listen to our full episodes. When I was saying the Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I couldn't help but think of the count from Sesame Street.
Sesame Street, yeah.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Maybe I'll try and maybe that'll be my thing.
I was going very like head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. I was like, touch your head, touch your shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Yeah, that's
Antoine
that's
and I both have young kids. That's
that's true. That's true. So Jamie, what is on your agenda? What are you looking at this week?
All right. Today, what I have is California is putting bounties on gun law violators.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, that's pretty cool. And on me, I'm bringing in the dominatrix from Fort Lauderdale. I want to talk about that council meeting, and that's going to be a spicy one. I think it's going to take some turns. How about that?
Everyone, sit back.
Buckle up.
Dim the lights.
Bring out the lotion.
That's too far. That is too far. This is a kid-friendly show.
No,
in terms of language,
I would say it's not for children. We don't take that on YouTube. We don't take that on YouTube.
No, we don't. We don't.
So don't turn on the fire and put this show on.
I guess kid-friendly probably isn't the right phrasing.
Yeah,
you might be.
Yeah. Everyone doesn't sit around the living room, squatted, listening bated breath for our Sesame Street-like episodes. Anyway, why don't you take us away with your topic first?
Okay, so a new law took effect in California on January 1st that gives state residents and visitors the same power to threaten the gun industry that Texans now wield over abortion providers. To be clear.
Very interesting.
Yeah, right. It's kind of weird.
It's weird to put it that way,
but that's what it is. And you'll see that's what it is. So
okay.
I just want to get this out of the way because I had to actually look this up. In most states, you need a license to be a bounty hunter. So neither in the Texas thing or this California thing, I guess, you don't need one, and not in every state, but I was like, can anyone just be a bounty hunter? And no, you need a license, and they like you to have degrees. The police department wants you to have these like associates or bachelor's degrees in certain things. So there's an interesting cultural.
So you need a higher level of degree to be a bounty hunter than you do to be a police officer in some parts of the country?
I'm not going to take the bait because I don't know what you need to be a police officer.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I know where you're going, but I don't know.
That's fine.
Anyway.
No, stay on the shore. Don't wade into the water.
SB 1327 authorizes anyone other than state or local government officials, which apparently helps in court, to sue people and dealers who violate the state's laws that ban the manufacture and distribution of assault weapons and guns without serial numbers, the sale or transfer of ghost gun component parts, and the sale of guns to anyone under the age of 21. If guilty, the defendant must pay the plaintiff at least $10,000 per illegal weapon or firearm part, plus the plaintiff's attorneys and court fees. A few notes. Mm-hmm. The lawsuit must be within 4 years of the violation, and any number of people can sue the same person, but only one plaintiff can collect damages.
Do they give an example? I'm just struggling to see how this plays out, which is, and again, where's this happening?
You sell guns. You sell guns to a 19-year-old, and I'm just some dude off the street. Okay. I can sue you.
Got you. That's why it's similar to the abortion.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
You're putting they were putting bounties. So if you don't know, the government in Texas state put bounty on practitioners that may administer abortions. Like any person off the street could turn them in for money. And it's not even like you're referring them to the state for prosecution. You're incentivized. You have a monetary incentive to turn these people in. And that's what California has done here as well. So my initial reaction to this was, oh no, this doesn't seem good. This seems super spiteful. And apparently it is super spiteful.
Okay.
The article says that Governor Newsom called for Californians to use the Texas law as a model for gun control as a reaction to the Supreme Court refusing to throw out the Texas abortion law. This is meant to show the Supreme Court how controversial the Texas law is as an enforcement method. This was a direct response to them not, weighing in or changing that Texas law.
I don't know. I'm worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm worried
right?
about because if you take a framework of a law that you disagree with on principle and then start using it, I feel like that's the problem with the legal system. Is the legal system will then use that as a precedent to further entrench the laws that you find despicable.
So what?
So I don't think it's going to have the intended effect that they are hoping for.
I'm with you, and that is still probably how I feel. But I'm like, dude, I'm going to try. So I'm like, all right. I also want to consider that there may be right and wrong applications of tactics, right? Like, just a tool in the kit. So perhaps this gun situation isn't the right time, isn't the right situation for this, but maybe the abortion one is, or maybe the abortion one isn't, and the gun one is. Like, I'm trying to understand. So maybe just outright enlisting the public in a grassroots way to become enforcers of your law and order is right, or maybe it's wrong. I'm trying to approach it from the blankest slate possible.
Well, the blankest slate possible as Americans, who are steeped in this country's history. This is exactly the kind of propaganda we would use against communist countries. That whole spy on your neighbor mentality. It's weird. It's as nuts. A democracy and how far we've come. That I guess you could call this full circle, where to incentivize your neighbors to start ratting on each other for the law. It's an odd proposition, to say the least. It is the fact that everyone is saying it without a hint of irony in terms of that history, which I feel is pretty well known American history. I mean, I feel like we were on the cusp of it growing up in the late 80s, like that tail end of that communist hysteria. I felt like it was in a lot of movies still, that whole Red Scare was, that the communists spy on each other and create I forget what they used to call them. What was the KGB kind of aspects to Russia back in the day? I mean, I don't know. I'm spitballing, but I find it very odd given that context and given where we are.
You would always see this in movies and in our media that again would reinforce that narrative that you were just talking about, like the secret police coming in the middle of the night.
The secret police. That's it.
Ratted them out or something.
Exactly.
Right?
Someone said they took 2 more loaves of bread than they intended, or they're sneaking in contraband from the West. Exactly. Like Berlin Wall type movie stuff. Exactly.
Like, so there's that part of it, right? That seems crazy. And then I really love the way that you put it, like, so you think it's wrong, because that's one thing that I always hate. It's just a pet peeve of mine when I argue or debate with someone and they say, well, so-and-so did it. I'm like, so are you admitting that it's wrong and that you're just doing it? Like, if you think it's wrong, you shouldn't do it regardless of what other people may be doing. That, if anything, I think that's just a wrong reaction to have. But what was driving me nuts about this,
if it's wrong and then people start doing it becomes right.
Yes. But what another part of this, and I don't know if this maybe this isn't as important. You tell me. This is just something that kind of ticked me off. You're putting the burden on people to do the job that our taxes are funding. Like, if you're going to make something illegal and you're saying that the state can't enforce it and that you need people to start snitching and they'll get at least $10,000 a pop every time they do it, depending on what's found when on the culprit.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like you're saying, it's super toxic. And I feel like this is just going to spiral out of control. What kind of precedent this sets and where we go from here, I don't know. But what are we paying for then? What's law enforcement for? What is this?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that.
Am I getting paid? Is this a tax deduction for me?
How many?
Am I a deputy? Did I just get deputized? Well,
all right. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to go too crazy on it because, for instance, New York, I don't know if it's the state but the city has had that. If you loiter as a car, I forget what that law is called. It's basically if a car has their engine on. And
no loitering, isn't that loitering? Is there
loitering is more of a
name?
person standing? Yeah, I mean, I think that there's another word for maybe it is loitering, but I thought that's more of an individual.
Idling.
Thank you, idling. That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
If you're caught idling, I think it's like for 10 minutes or something like that, and someone takes a video for the extended time that the car is sitting parked with that license plate, they could turn that in as a bounty. So New York City has
you get money. Bounty. They get money.
Yes. So if they are.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I'm saying that? It exists. Yeah. So if you take the video and you send it into to the state and they review it and they issue a ticket, you do get money from that as a bounty.
I don't like it.
In terms of curbing emissions. So I'm just saying. So I don't want to go crazy and say they're crazy out in the West. Because
no, I am because that's the whole argument that I'm making before. Just because they do it isn't like they do it.
Well, this was done.
No, that's my point. That's bad too. That's bad too. That's not good.
Bad.
That's bad.
Don't do that, New York. That's bad.
State. Bad state. You can't incentivize the public like that. Am I being weird? Is that weird?
No, I agree with you. I think that there should be other ways to doing it. And basically, the New York law is there because they're admitting that they do not have the manpower from the police force for police officers to issue those types of summonses. So they're basically saying that because we can't be everywhere at once, you are everywhere. You're the people. You have eyes in places that the cops, I guess, could never see. You stand in the street holding your phone, waiting for some guy to come out and punch you in the face for videoing his idling.
Sooner or later, you're going to turn on Netflix and Coco Melon's going to be telling you to like snitch on your parents. Like, what is going on? Like, you can't. Where do you draw the line here? Are they going to turn your children against you? Do we have to use the children?
Are you saying they're going to remove the Coco Melon episode that tells you that stitches get stitches? Is that what you're trying to say?
I can already picture the song in my head. Snitching shark. It'll be a whole thing.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So, but where do you draw the line here? And I didn't know that about. I mean, they used climate change. No, I still disagree with that. On the spot. Do I have a better way? No, but just because I don't have a better way doesn't mean that this is the way. There has to be another thing that we can do if they have trouble enforcing a law. I mean, when it comes to gun stuff, I actually do have a bunch, and it's not even worth saying because this country will never do it.
Bunch of ideas, not guns.
Yeah, no, not guns. I don't own a gun, but the idea that we have a gun issue in this country. And our solution is to just have everyone incentivized to turn each other in. I mean,
got you.
It's very toxic.
It's not a society you want to live in.
So you're going to basically move to the state where you don't feel like you could be turned in for anything. In Texas, it's going to be abortion. In New York, it's going to be idling. In California, it's going to be guns or semi-automatics or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. What is this? I wonder if there's anything else. What other incentivized bounty programs does our government have?
I feel like the state legislatures of New Hampshire are guarding their loins.
I got a better one for you, New York. Left. How about you incentivize people to turn in their clunkers and you give them an EV? There's one that'll help climate change.
That could help. Yeah. I mean,
that'll help a lot.
That'll
help a lot. Well, get all the gas guzzlers off the road and give these people an affordable electric vehicle. $7,500 off a $50,000 car. It's a joke. I don't know. That one pisses me off because there's no way that turning in people in New York for idling is going to impact the climate. Give me a break.
I think it's more about the air quality of the city, but at the same time, I don't know what impact it is because I haven't.
It's zero. It's negligible.
You're going to go out there.
Yep, okay. Yep. I don't even need to know. I don't need a data scientist on. I don't need a climatologist on. Okay. I'm saying that the amount of people getting turned in for this bounty program, and is this all of New York or just Manhattan, the boroughs?
Oh, it's all over the city. At least I could guarantee that.
The city. There's no way that it matters. There's but prove me wrong.
I don't
YouTube,
know.
Twitter.
I don't know.
Prove me wrong.
I feel like we're about to earn our podcast. I feel I feel a retraction coming on. But you know what,
Maybe.
you listeners, if I can't find something, I'm
How
looking
many
out to
people
you.
could be getting turned in for this?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Turned in. First of all, it's like a waterfall of filters. You have the amount of people that are doing it.
Yeah.
And it's probably some who aren't doing it. And it's all spiteful. You have people who go out of their way to make these complaints, file these complaints. You have the police department, I assume, are the people who are processing these and filtering out the good from the bad. Then you have people who have to get prosecuted. And I assume there's like, do they get prosecuted?
Well, it's not prosecuted. It's a fine.
It's a ticket.
It's a ticket.
Yeah.
It's just
is that not prosecuted when you get found when you go to court?
I mean, well, you don't go to court for the ticket. You just pay.
Oh, you go to court for speeding tickets.
That's different. I think that falls under a different type of. This is like there's a level of infraction where, first of all, if you had to go to court,
I mean, it's just the planet, right? That's we weren't speeding, Antoine. You were idling and destroying our planet, apparently, but you weren't speeding.
Speeding is reckless, and you could kill somebody. Idling next to you're killing somebody over.
You're killing generations, all right?
Exactly.
Your future generations. No one living today. You're
exactly.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while of inhaling that carbon monoxide out of that idling.
Killing people in the future, digging up bones from 4,000 years ago. Hey, it's not offensive as long as it's not to the living, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there another part to this, or was that the main crux of the story?
It.
That was it. Okay.
That was it.
All right. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out then. All right.
What do you got?
Okay. So
everyone turn down the lights.
You gotta get that mood right.
Oh God, you got a video. All right, here we go. Well, everyone will post it. Feel free to pause and look this up on your own, and I can give a little bit of information on it, but I'll post it in promotion of the episode.
Title of the video is called "Self-Proclaimed Mistress Seeks Tax-Funded Sex Dungeon from Fort Lauderdale Commissioners." It's a quick video. Yeah.
I mean, couldn't you just get a permit for a basement? What exactly is this?
It's not about a permit. First of all, look, I'm going to get into it. First, look, there's a couple of things we're going to do here, people. First thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to this mistress's demands. I'm using the word demand because many of the
is mistress what she prefers to be called.
Well, I'm going to use her preferred name. It's the official name of someone who is in her position and runs a dungeon. She's called a mistress. I will then explain what mistresses are in more detail, because that's a very light, because I had to do a rabbit hole. First of all, I've met for you listeners, I've messed up my YouTube algorithm. I just want everyone to know this right now. Searching BDSM and like what it is has really screwed up my YouTube algorithm. So I took one. For the
Antoine
team.
went deep undercover.
I just want you to know that I'm going to be shoveling myself out of recommended BDSM videos for probably a couple months after this airs. So for you,
it was the pod. It was the pod.
I've done this for you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, council peoples. You may call me mistress. I am here standing neutral to the motion approving an agreement for the proprietary purchase of yard waste processing and disposal. I do, however, find it interesting that you will spend almost $1 million to hide your secrets down the drain, hiding that condom I know you used to cheat on your spouse with. So, I propose that you use a quarter of that mill to support DOMs and subs in Broward County, to build a dungeon created for us by us, the taxpayers and voting citizens. In closing, do not let this glamorous look distract you from doing your duty to take my demand. I look forward to spanking each and every single one of you at the new esteemed dungeon. You are dismissed.
Okay, thank you. And happy holidays to you. Anyone else wish to speak? There being none.
City manager, are there any districts that have a dungeon?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Thank you.
I thought there was one at the Sapphire.
No, please.
I know
But
there were a
thank
couple of
proposed clubs of a variety of natures from a couple of years ago. I thought they were mostly in District 2, though.
Mostly, we have a lot of things going on in District 2, but no, I don't think we have any dungeons.
The banter at the end. Also want to know what's going on in District 2 and who represents that.
Yeah, I do too. The District 2, it sounds like a really hot district, like the Hunger Games kind of thing.
I mean, how do you recover from that?
Listeners, easily.
Watchers.
So here's the thing, listeners. Okay, look.
No, I meant the people. I meant the people in that meeting. Like, I mean,
I think they should have taken it more seriously. To be fair,
she didn't. She didn't take it seriously.
Look,
she was in character.
She's
I
not
mean, well
character.
played.
That's what a dominatrix wears. That is her uniform.
Yeah,
okay?
She's not at work. She's not at work.
She is representing her trade. And which that's how you would.
No,
are you gonna
like Stephen Colbert going into court in his character as what he played on the Colbert Report?
Would you say the same thing of a police officer going into a courtroom in uniform? I mean, it's her uniform. It's her.
So there's the uniform, but if
that's the uniform,
the cop ordered the judge to get down on the ground and put his hands behind his back, like get real, like. All right,
is he a BDSM
we'll talk
cop?
about this. We will talk about this.
Is he a BDSM cop?
In District 2. In District 2.
I'm just saying, if that was the case, then yeah, that's appropriate. That makes sense. Okay.
Dude.
Okay.
I will give it to her. The fact that she was making demands like that was an artistic choice, and that was well played. That made me laugh. I didn't see that coming. I thought that she was just going to go up there and do her thing. I didn't realize she was going to do that. Wow.
We should say to the listeners that she was in. We should have said this before, but she's in basically full black latex. Think
Catwoman.
Think Gimp. Well, Catwoman or the Gimp in Pulp Fiction.
Except the Gimp had that ball in his mouth or whatever.
Right.
This woman had white clown makeup. It looked like under there.
I think that's just her makeup. I just think she's.
It was white. Pale. That was white with red lips. Probably. Yeah, that makes sense. So it was interesting. So and the glasses, these like Back to the Future type glasses that like wrapped around their heads. There was 3 of them. There was 3 people.
That's true. Yes, she came with her with a fellow other.
They didn't talk though. They were not allowed to speak.
They were not allowed to speak. That's correct. Strict code there. Absolutely. Got to keep it by the book.
They knew better. They've been punished before.
Okay.
So I'm going to call this out. I said permit. She was going for a permit. She was going for a yard waste processing and disposal permit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, part of it. So look, I mean, to be fair, this woman was promoting a new club that is owned by women. What
a great ad.
Well, it went viral. I mean, clearly. I mean, who else watches Fort Lauderdale?
That has to be why she did that.
Commission meetings on YouTube for the national news. I mean, how else do you get that free publicity? Now, all that aside, that's the thing. Though. I want to move that aside.
I got to do one more comment. What accent was that? What accent was that?
Her accent. I don't know. It's her accent.
Was that in character or is that from a country? What is that?
I don't know. I didn't think the accent was that big a deal. I thought she just spoke plainly.
Well, you know what it sounded like? It sounded like the nihilists from The Big Lebowski.
A little bit. It did a little bit. You're right. I'll give you that. A little bit. So the reason there's just two reasons I brought this up, and I'm trying to think of which one to go into first. So I took issue with the what is it? They're basically like the chidedness, if you could use that word, with which the council people, kind of joked about. I believe
you're upset with the council people.
I am a little upset with the council people.
What do you want them to do? What did you want them to do? I don't expect them
to do anything. I just think it's interesting because as a culture, okay, I think it's very interesting as a culture how we deal with sex versus violence. Okay,
that's fair.
Okay, that's why I'm coming.
George R.R. Martin would always say that, right?
Right.
It bashed someone's head in, brains all over the place. I'm paraphrasing.
Good job. Yeah.
No big deal, but show some people getting intimate, and it's taboo.
And everyone gets to it up for it. Right. So that was part of my thing because I think
there are norms, though, Antoine.
There are norms. Look, I'm not gonna debate the norms of the situation. Look, can you be taken aback by the situation? Sure. The media that followed, I think, is really what I'm taking more issue with, was just the pure absurdity of the idea that a dungeon would be asking for taxpayer money regardless. And I think the reason I take an issue with it is because we freely, willingly give tax dollars to agents of death, which are the gun manufacturers, whether it's they're getting some sort of federal contract in order to build new machinery or build new weaponry. I shouldn't call it machinery. I should say weaponry. So somehow, one way or another, my point is that we actually do fund a lot of what goes on for the gun industry. So it's not, I think that's what's interesting is that we balk so hard at funding anything that is sex worker related, but at the same time, we're happy to fund the violence that is essentially, that's something that will eventually kill people versus the life bringers, which are the those are the sexual nature. I guess I put them in the other side. If you want to do a spectrum, duality, that's part of it. That's
I guess
part
they
of my
don't have a
issue
strong
with it.
enough lobby.
They don't have a strong enough lobby. They have next to no lobby because there's, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, there's no because Microsoft doesn't want to sell sex at this point. Not in that way. If Microsoft owned the dungeon, they'd have a bigger lobby. I can guarantee that.
I mean, all right. So you want government to set aside grant money for,
and I'll tell you why. All right.
So this is what is it? Because it's not sex work. Is it sex work?
It's not. Well,
I don't know how to categorize this industry.
All right. Here. So this is the problem. When I was doing this, I was like, you know what? Do I know what a mistress really is? Like, I'm assuming a lot. I think that a lot of people are assuming a lot about what a dungeon is, what a mistress is. So I was like, maybe I should learn what a mistress is first, and then maybe I should look up what the benefits of a dungeon or BDSM could be on society before I make these outlandish claims about guns or violence versus sex. I was like, maybe I should back this up with something. So I was like, I need to find out what a mistress is. So hold on. This is what a mistress is.
Well, a dungeon mistress or pro-dom, professional dominatrix, is a female identifying woman who enjoys giving people sensations that they want. I enjoyed being a pro-dom, getting the experience of learning what people are into, getting trained in how to perform those things for them. It was really a wonderful opportunity. There are several myths and misconceptions about BDSM. Everyone thinks it has to be about pain or it's not BDSM. And it's not true. There are tickling fetishes. I've mentioned all this, the foot fetish. However, the second one I hear the most is that sex is involved. As a pro-dom, if you get paid to have sex with somebody, you are breaking the law. We do not have sex. I never, ever took off my clothes working as a professional dominatrix. The clients might at my command, but there was no sex. There was no penetration, any orifice at all.
So I thought that was important. Now I know. Now I know.
An industry standard.
I believe so. I mean, I didn't think that we had time to listen to a bunch of ex-dominatrix.
Just search more, Antoine. Take the next week or so and just search.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more than corrupting my YouTube algorithm.
Just buy a separate computer. Don't tell anyone.
Well, look, look. I thought that was interesting. Okay, just to say, because the thing is, this is not a place that I'm particularly well versed, so I wanted to educate myself, and I thought that there might be some interesting tidbits here for the listeners.
Now you can have intellectual conversations at your next dinner party.
Well, I'm just trying to. Yeah, I mean, part of it could be about tickling fetish. I mean, I think that that's a very interesting, almost benign. I'm just saying.
Who wants dessert?
Well, just saying that I think that we go to a dark place immediately. You're like, all right, it's a dungeon. This person's in black latex. They've got a whip. They've got paddles. You think 50 Shades of Grey, for instance, and they might just be down there tickling people. Like you could probably go to a dungeon and just hear laughter. People just laughing.
I don't know. I don't know enough about the psychology around any of this stuff.
That is why I have my next piece of evidence.
All right, bring it up.
From the Daily Mail, an article titled 50 Shades of Health, 4 surprising benefits of kinky sex. Now they go, it says kinky sex or BDSM because, they've got to hit the search engine, they've got to do the SEO, but it's really about the BDSM, not necessarily the sexual portions of it. And this is what they say. It's a world that was considered taboo for a long time. For many, anything beyond vanilla sex was considered abnormal. Then came 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, which introduced BDSM to the world. Generally, BDSM is about dominance and submission. One person plays the top or dominant role, while the other plays the bottom or submissive role. According to a post 50 Shades survey by Marie Claire, that's a magazine, 85% of U.S. adults had engaged in at least light, fair play using masks, blindfolds, and bondage tool. While there's plenty of room for sexual experimentation when it comes to BDSM, there are also many physical and mental health benefits when practiced safely and consensually, similar to what our Dom was saying, just referenced it a minute ago. Would you like to know more, Jamie?
Do I have a choice?
No.
I was playing a role. Is this how you do it? Am I doing it?
No, we're not doing it. That's how this spot is. No, we're not doing it. So, number one, reduces stress levels. Several studies have found that couples who engage in BDSM activities see a reduction in stress levels. A 2009 study found that both dominant and submissive consistently had lower levels of cortisol after engaging in bondage compared to before. So,
I don't know what is that? I don't know what that is.
Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, regulates many changes in the body, including blood sugar levels, immune responses, and inflammation.
Oh, so I'm curious. Is it because you used all your stress during it, or is it because was it healthy? Is there any I know that the reason why they're even bringing it up, the implication there is that this is a healthy way to relieve stress, right? Is
Correct.
That true? Is that?
Yeah. I'm just saying, if we look at our society, we've got a lot of, there's a lot of issues generally. I'm just saying that, why do we try something that could possibly be making people happier? There's just so much in our society that is depressing, especially after 2 years of a pandemic. And here we are chiding someone who's just trying to bring a little joy into this world. It may be through the whip.
No.
It may be through the flog.
That's not.
But that there are trying.
I agree with you in that it's totally cool whatever you're into, and yes, I will definitely agree flat out with almost like what George R.R. Martin had said in the past, in that society needs to just see certain things differently. The taboo nature of some of the most inherent parts of our species, right? Our instinctual parts of us and parts of our culture that are just there that no one talks about because of how they were looked at in the past by groups that had authority, is ridiculous for us to continue these legacies. But her showing up to a court proceeding and doing that, that was a straight up advertisement. That was ridiculous.
And she's starting a conversation. This might be a movement.
It's got a form of protest. If it was that, listen, I'm not mad about it, but it's atypical, and not atypical from like an oppressed point of view. If someone was to, like those two kids that showed up stoned, or at least they played a stoned character. Did you ever see them before? And they go into court. There were these two dudes that wanted to party, and they went into court and spoke to the board, some city council. Oh my God, I have to send it to you.
This does sound a little familiar.
There's a few times it happened. There's these two guys, and it's funny. It's funny to see, and it's atypical, and it's. Sure, we should be looking at recreational use of some substances is not a big deal.
And we did.
And
right? Now we do.
But that will never, you can't do that. You can't show up inebriated to official proceedings. You can't show up in your lingerie or without clothes on. It's just,
if there's your uniform.
No.
It's just backed by something. It could be your religion.
I don't care about that.
Do you want to know what else it could do? Do you want to know what else BDSM could do for you?
Tell me what else.
It could strengthen your immunity. Flogging.
Oh my God, the cure to COVID.
Hold on. Well, we didn't say that.
Antoine
no, please
an
do not put that. Please don't put that on our YouTube. I don't want to have the explanation for what COVID is just because you mentioned it as part of strengthening the immunity with BDSM. No,
Antoine
we have no idea.
Has something to sell you. It's a book. It's a book that talks about the cure to COVID. You gotta read it.
Great.
You got to purchase it
Great.
for $19.99.
You're gonna regret that one. So, flogging and spanking increases blood flow to the brain. The fresh blood supply saturates the organs and muscles with new oxygen and hormones. Meanwhile, the used blood is removed along with waste products that cause fatigue and even illness of brain cells. This is a cleansing.
I'm sure it's similar to
process.
like to like getting a massage or something.
It could be. Yeah,
Like a deep tissue.
I'm just putting it in there. You know, I've always actually, I'm a big advocate of adding massage into health plans. I think that works.
Yeah, no, I think that I mean, there's no denying it. You have to listen to your body, and there's there's all whole things. You get deep tissue into your muscles and what they release. Actually, Maxine, who we've had on the pod 3 times now, a through hiker, had informed us a few years ago of exactly what happens to some of the muscles when you do some deep tissue massages, foam rollers, and things like that. So, it's really interesting, the biology. I don't know what it was called, but behind all of this. But again, I'm not knocking the BDSM or anything like that.
I'm just trying to elevate.
I am just saying
get
that
it into the
clearly,
conversation.
yes, and it is like, I guess, the bidet of stress relievers. That is the second time I've used that.
There you go.
That reference
That is a
on
good
this
reference.
podcast.
That's
And
a
what was the
very
other
good
one?
reference.
What was the other episode? It was the bidet of something.
I do not remember, but that is a very good reference. Exactly. Something very underutilized, but could be very life-changing. That is probably what BDSM might be for a few people out there. Just putting it out there. Number 3, increase of feel-good hormones.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is that okay? Okay, sure. You
Many
get that.
couples
Fine.
who practice BDSM can fare better than vanilla couples when it comes to communication. Experts told Daily Mail Online that this is because they often have to be more thorough in discussion about their sexual desires. Additionally,
so it opens communication, opens lines.
Additionally, having tools such as safe words and making a distinction between play and other typical relationship interactions are contributing factors.
That is interesting.
Do you know what the last one is? Unless you want to say something else about that.
I'm wondering how long, like, do you just jump right into that with someone, or do you have to be with them for a while? Because it seems like you're making yourself very vulnerable.
Well, I think that's where the dungeons come into play, to be honest with you, because if you are insecure, that anonymity, which is sort of like why someone seeks a therapist. I mean, there are many reasons to do therapy, but part of it is that you're speaking to somebody who is not a friend, is not a family member, is, a third.
I thought these things you were talking about were within a relationship.
Yes, this is true. For this specifically, when they referenced that, they were saying that it can help a relationship as well. You're right. But I was just saying that for people who don't feel that comfortable as the individual, this is where that could apply in terms of using something like a dungeon. But if you are secure enough in that relationship, then yes, you could also get those same benefits if you can speak to a partner about this type of foreplay.
What the startup costs are of this? Dungeon sounds expensive.
That's why you do free advertising.
No, I meant for couples.
Well, I guess it's the cost of your relationship. What's more expensive, divorce or some light tickling?
A new fridge or convert that basement.
Just saying, light tickling is free. It could go a long way. The last one is better mental health. While some may think BDSM perverse, studies have found practitioners to have a mentally self-assured, strong, and healthy. To be mentally, self-assured and strong and healthy. Specifically, a 2013 study found BDSM participants to be less neurotic, more extroverted, more open to new experiences, more conscientious, less rejection sensitive, with higher subjective well-being than vanilla couples.
I feel like it's almost like practicing improv in a way, where that kind of builds confidence in certain areas to perform. In maybe your personal or professional life. I wonder if this is some similar effect.
Could be.
It's role playing.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I mean, it's acting. Yeah, just like you say. Yeah, the improvisation is with your tools.
Again, you started off with this person asking for a permit. And I might have missed the part where she was asking for taxpayer funded stuff because I was so distracted by the
Well, there it's more of the assumption because the $1 million initiative for this waste management proposal is essentially taxpayer funded. So to ask for a portion of that is then to by connection then asking for taxpayer funding for the dungeon.
And then you kind of took that and said, well, let's now explore why this spectacle makes anyone feel uncomfortable. And I think that's fair, because what my issue is, like, this is supposed to be an official proceeding. And I think anyone would be lying if they didn't look at that and they were like, ooh, there's a taboo nature to that. And it would be great if culturally we could get past all of that. And I think that's your point. I still don't think I think that there are certain times that, I don't know, everyone's got to just kind of show up and do the job.
And a suit and tie? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, not really.
Sometimes where you just gotta.
Because I'm very anti suit and tie. I'm saying
you gotta break down the norm somehow. The first guy who showed up without a suit and tie.
I will be honest. If that was her wardrobe and that's what she had, then that's cool. But she clearly came in character. She was speaking in like the most demanding way, so short and punchy. Like it was clearly a character. Like I would be a fool to say that it wasn't in character. And if that's how she was 24/7, then apologies.
She is coming as a representative. Would you want your lawyer, let's say your lawyer on the weekends
in court? Or
you
my
want them
kid's
to
birthday
be
party
a character
at my 2-year-old's birthday
I'm just
party.
saying,
being a lawyer, I'd be like, dude, no. Like, there's this appropriate time.
I see. You're trying to flip it on me. You're trying to say a lawyer litigating at a 2-year-old's birthday party is not appropriate. Now, here's what I would say: it might be very entertaining and informative for that 2-year-old to see how the legal process might, in fact, play out, as subconsciously ingest some of that. And who knows? One day they themselves might.
I would argue
the legal profession.
It'd be entertaining to see a lawyer have absolutely zero power with a 2-year-old.
That is so true. That is so true.
So yeah, I think it's a good icebreaker, a good way to raise awareness of a piece of our culture that we rather not cast light on.
Yeah, it's a subset of our society we would like to pretend does not exist, even though they might be, as I'm saying, they might be doing a very important good. Too often in our society, like we talk about, we focus
Antoine thinks this could be the cure for various diseases.
I definitely think that it could uplift some of the severe illnesses that plague this culture. Sure. Getting up and out there, getting active, swinging around that whip. Yeah. I mean, I think get a little exercise out of it. I think that there's a lot of good that could come out of it.
Yeah. I like the whole idea of the open lines of communication and people being comfortable. And maybe this is even geared towards males more than anyone else, but the idea of being able to express yourself, and I'm not just talking about sexually, but just being able to express yourself in general. I think that there's a lot of people, whether by their upbringing or cultural constraints, that, you're taught not to express yourself. And I think that does lead to disruptive behavior, stress, which can bring on disease after a long period of time. And I think that this could have some well-rounding beneficial effects to just human beings. So no, it's a really interesting point. Anything that can have a species fulfill more of itself. I think this is a piece of it.
I agree. My thing is, I'd rather people leave the firing range and enter the dungeon.
Dungeon party.
Dungeon party for all.
Should have gave out vouchers.
She might have. So, and this is unique because it's women owned. So it's Do
does it work the other way? Are there dungeon misters? Does that work? Dungeon.
I was just looking that up before we did this. I think that it's something slightly different, but I believe so. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Dungeon is for all. It's for all walks of life. It's a welcoming place. Anyway, that was what was on my end. Do you have anything else you want to wrap up?
I'm just curious now if there are other themes, the theme of black, latex, chains, all that stuff. I mean, that's very goth, right? I mean, it's very like medieval. Is that it?
Is there a
Is there
lighter
other stuff?
motif? There might be.
Just different stuff.
Well, if we were to fund it, we might find out the varietals of the BDSM world.
This
if we
is
were
the
to bring
potential, people. This is the potential.
it's not what you may think. That's what I'm doing on this pod today.
Because that's interesting. Because that might not be
think.
that might not be everyone's thing, and maybe those are the people that are most passionate about it. But this may evolve into something much more palatable to a broader audience, but still hold true to the key principles of, I don't know, like stress relieving and communication, but using these submissive techniques to I don't know, allow people to live outside their own body for a little while. I don't know. It's interesting.
I think that is really interesting. It's an interesting idea, and it's something that is worth investigating as a culture. Why we are so afraid to explore this unexplored territory, considering all the health benefits that are normally associated with it. So,
I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that it's another way to improve health. I mean, you wouldn't put it higher than anything else, though, right? I mean, there's nothing out there. I get that they're saying that you do this, and there's measurable benefits to your health, but not any more than exercising regularly or eating healthy or making sure that you have a work-life balance. Like there's nothing to say that this is.
It's a piece.
It's a piece, right? It's a piece.
There's no quick fix.
And I'm not.
You just named
I'm not
three
dismissing it
different
at all.
things. No,
but I want to
be
clear. Like that's what I mean by this is like part of
it's an
the
addition.
well-rounded human,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You spend time with the family on the weekend. You make sure that you don't have to work long hours, and you visit the dungeon either on your lunch break or maybe in the evening before you head on home. So you got to add it into the routine. You go to the gym in the morning. You go to the dungeon at night. You go to the gym in the morning. You go to the dungeon at night.
I will tip my hat the first time I hear in public. Sorry, I'm late. I was at the dungeon.
That's a society I want to live in. Not a society where people are ratting on one another. Sorry, I'm late.
True.
I had to take a picture of this idling truck and send it in for a ticket to be issued. No. Or I saw this girl and she looked like she might have been trying to have an abortion, and I just had to get everyone involved arrested and ruin everyone's life. But no, not that. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I was trying to get out of my leather and I got stuck. And it was very much a Ross situation with the leather pants and everything. It was just like that. It created a paste and I just couldn't get it off. So that's what I want. I want that
fantastic.
world. I want to live in that comedy.
It's a beautiful world.
So we leave it at that.
I think we're leaving it at that, folks.
All right, then. JB, where can they find us?
All right, folks. Don't forget, we have new YouTube content on Wednesdays and the weekend. Please show us that you care. Engage with us on Twitter at Retraction Media and listen to full episodes on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more.
And with that, Retraction out. You like that? That was my whipping.